Letter to Versia. 4 July, Wednesday. With a freshly completed letter in hand, I went to Yaroslav Golishkin, deputy editor of the Pavlodar newspaper Versia. In it, I outlined my hypothesis about the pressure of space. I proposed that matter, the Earth, does not itself attract. Gravitational interaction between bodies arises from pressure in the cosmos. Bodies are drawn to one another because the pressure between them is lower. The cosmic ether is so rarefied that it remains invisible even to instruments. It passes through us and manifests as what we perceive as weight or mass. The idea is developed in greater detail in the second part of the book. 19 July 2001. A few days after the letter reached the editorial office, I was told the material was intriguing and would be published. Since I had mentioned that unknown forces had guided me toward the idea of cosmic pressure, the article appeared on 11 July under the ringing headline, "Listen to the Cosmic Mind." I waited for the reaction with pounding heart. The following week, the same Versia carried a full refutation of my hypothesis by a professional physicist. And that was all. Silence. No further echo. The revolution stalled. My revelation turned out to be a tiny speck in an ocean of information needed by no one. I reasoned thus. If someone had granted me knowledge of such magnitude, then a turning of the world was being prepared. It was only a matter of time. I must continue sending letters to newspapers and magazines. I also reflected on how, over centuries, scholars had erected an immense edifice we call fundamental science. Everything had been charted from the Big Bang to the final crunch. They had built a dense wall of equations, constants, variables, hypotheses, and speculations in which there was no room for the occult or the mystical. Prizes had been awarded, laurels distributed, yet the accumulation of applied knowledge, however dazzling, added nothing to the foundations. Applied science had miraculously transformed daily life, while the threat to human existence itself only grew. Almost every great scientific idea, I reminded myself, had arrived not through laborious deduction, but through intuition, illumination, or outright revelation from above. What kind of science was that? It was time to acknowledge other mysterious forces. More and more facts were piling up that contradicted established doctrine. Too often, men of science lived on yesterday's glory. And then I thought, in their entire colossal edifice of science, scholars had left no place for the Creator. Yet the New Testament says that the foundation of the building was laid by Jesus Christ himself. No one can lay another foundation where one already exists. And whoever hears these words of mine, but does not put them into practice, is like a foolish man who built his house on sand, and great was its fall. I recalled the words about the cornerstone against which anyone who disregards the Word of God himself will be broken. In the law of universal gravitation, the source of the gravitational field is declared to be mass or energy of matter itself, and gravity manifests solely as attraction. There it was, the cornerstone of the edifice of science. What if matter contains no source of gravitational field at all? Following this logic, I concluded that the time had come to tear down the building that stood on no foundation. The planet was undergoing global climatic upheaval. We were all witnesses. Scientists groped for explanations, yet for them, God was not a material force. At this critical hour for humanity, the Creator, I believed, had decided to reveal himself, to display his power and majesty in full. My article in Versia closed with these lines from Nostradamus. Philosopher, seek the golden nugget in the mysterious juices of soul and sky. Spirit is the air of every kind of matter, and God in frequent stars for knowledge shall arise.
My task was to prove the deadly seriousness of these words, right down to, "In the beginning was the Word." Profound qualitative changes awaited the earth. Here, Nostradamus speaks of the resurrection of God in human consciousness as an accomplished fact, and that resurrection occurs precisely through new knowledge of stars and planets. Could the seer have foreseen what I am attempting today? The hint about the golden nugget was not yet entirely clear to me, but I felt that soon it too would be revealed. The clue was plain. The answer was not to be sought through ordinary science. Material gold had nothing to do with it. So, in my next letter, I underlined this phrase: "Any day now we shall all witness the grandiose collapse of the edifice. The world will be turned upside down." In my naivete, I had kept no copies of those first letters.